Thank you for joining us on another edition of the Florida Chamber Foundation's Florida Horizon. I'm Tony Carvajal, the Executive Vice President of the Florida Chamber Foundation, and joining me today is a good friend, a trustee of the Florida Chamber Foundation, and the CEO of the Florida Court Clerks and Comptrollers, Chris Hart. Chris, we've worked with you in a number of different capacities: workforce, economic development, policy. Now you're leading this great organization, the Court Clerks and Comptrollers. Tell me a little bit about what a court clerk is.
Oh, yeah, no, I'd be happy to. Unfortunately, court clerks and comptrollers are one of the best kept secrets in the state of Florida, which is really kind of uncanny, seeing as they have nearly 1,000 functions, duties, and responsibilities, both in statute and throughout the Constitution. So most people would know their court clerk through, say, jury duty, right? So as they are working on their civic governance, they get their jury notice. I know you just recently received yours. Thank you for your service. So most people know them that way. They also know them if, unfortunately, they've been pulled over because they were speeding and they received a traffic ticket. So they've gone down to their clerk's office and they've paid their ticket, or they've gone online and they've paid their ticket. But there are a number of things that folks throughout the state of Florida, business leaders, even other elected officials don't know. And that is that nearly 6 million Floridians utilize the court clerks and comptroller services every year, and that's just walk-in traffic. And it's for everything from marriage licenses, if there's foreclosures, there could be pro se litigation that they're involved in, and so they need some help there. It's also things like passports. So as I said, with 1,000 duties, functions, roles, responsibilities, there's myriad reasons why Floridians would utilize the services of their court clerk.
Now, you and I have talked about this as individual citizens, as business owners. We actually intersect with them a lot. You mentioned deeds, you mentioned paperwork that goes through the court system. Tell me a little bit more about what a business might intersect with them on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So businesses may interact with court clerks if, number one, they have civil court services that they need to access. So for litigation, they could go down to the clerk's office, or they could utilize the e-filing portal. We've actually, in partnership with the Supreme Court, the clerks and the judges, justices in particular, put together something called the e-filing portal. There are millions of case filings that go through that every year, and that's a great service for businesses.
Now, you mentioned they were the best kept secret, and I did a little bit of background on this. You guys are actually pretty innovative in terms of the technology you use, the way that you are actually leading the country in managing all this flow of paperwork and interaction with the customers. Tell me a little bit more about that, and then we'll start talking about some policy issues that you all work on.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to do that. So in my role, CEO of the Florida Court Clerks and Comptrollers, we support the 68 clerks and comptrollers throughout the state. We help them with their mission, and that really is to protect the public trust. And we do that 3 key areas. So number one is education. So we have a new clerk academy where we help them with those 1,000 duties, roles, responsibilities, and functions that they have. We also help we help existing clerks with their continued training. We help them with advocacy so that they are ensuring that they're taking care of the citizens. But the area that you just asked me about is one of our most firmly foundational focus areas that we have, and that is helping to enhance access to core governmental services through innovative technology. A few examples that you may know of: I already mentioned the e-filing system that we have, which is truly innovative throughout the country. But we help with child support payments, so we do back-end processing on behalf of clerks throughout many parts of the state, traffic tickets, and then, of course, there is something we call CCIS, Court Case Information System, and we have over 45,000 users, governmental users in this case. So this isn't public access. Again, it's behind the scenes. It's really in their official records capacity, which is a big, big role for our court clerks, and that is ensuring that data is transferred throughout the state. Partners like FDLE, Department of Corrections, with our sheriffs and others, to ensure that that free exchange of information between governmental units helps to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of Florida's government, which is really important when you consider that here in the state of Florida, 11% of Florida's real GDP is spent on government. So for every $1 million that's produced through Florida's economy, that means $110,000 actually goes to governmental services.
you know, you mentioned that they were the best kept secret, and sometimes that's good because that means that it's working and nobody's paying attention to it unless you get one of those tickets that you were talking about. But let's come back and talk a little bit about that, because you're hitting on something very important: the impact on GDP, how this matters to securing Florida's future and each of our daily lives. Do you mind coming back for the next episode?
I would love to come back. I'll come back anytime, because the last thing that we want is for Florida's court clerks and comptrollers to be a well-kept secret. With so many people that either are utilizing their services or really could benefit from utilizing their services, including businesses, we want them to know how to do that.
Chris, thanks for those background insights. We're going to continue this conversation and talk about how the court clerks and comptrollers impact our scorecard of Florida 2030 and each of you watching this episode. Join us on another edition of the Florida Chamber Foundation's Florida Horizon. Look forward to continuing this conversation.